And some people look at it and the reflection is that they're bigger. Their ego is bigger than normal size. And those people tend to flame out. Like, for example, a Roger Ver or a Craig Wright. These two were very early into Bitcoin. So why did they crash and burn? It's because the magic mirror of Bitcoin, the funhouse mirror, reflected back on who they are, their true characters, which made them think that they were bigger than Bitcoin, that they knew better than Satoshi.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Max Keiser discusses Bitcoin and crypto. He's discussing the impending economic crisis that has been gradually developing over the past few years and expresses the belief that we are now just a few months away from it. A devastating occurrence. The maps we're observing of numerous countries. The current state of fiat money systems is cause for great concern. The recent inflation numbers indicate a significant instability in the system, which is currently surging. This has tangible repercussions on people's ability to afford housing, food, and energy. It is concerning that not only is the economy spiraling out of control, but the interest on US debt has now surpassed even the military's budget. The failed promises of economic growth through trickle-down economics are being criticized, as we have witnessed an abundance of money printing and misallocated investments that have contributed to the disappearance of capital. This pattern, involving trillions of dollars, has only served to feed into an elusive financial void controlled by major accounting firms. According to Keiser, there is a forecast for a shift towards a Bitcoin standard that will be expedited by a series of bank failures. He suggests that numerous banks are currently insolvent and are being propped up by questionable accounting practices. As more banking collapses occur in the coming months, these dubious methods will be exposed. Now let's dive into the recent interview with Max Keiser as he shares his market prediction and discusses the impact of Bitcoin on crypto stocks and global financial markets. So please watch the video to end and share this video and subscribe our channel, Everyday Finance. Thanks.
I think that the universe hews toward a divine aesthetic. And when you stray from that, you feel pain and you feel an existential loss. When you're in harmony with it, you are in the moment and you have an experience of euphoria. And that design, like the Bitcoin design, is permanent, and the creator of that design is not necessarily still with us. I often think that the God of our universe died in childbirth, but his software continues to run. But and then what's very kind of trippy is that if you think about it in those terms, if you think about artificial intelligence as replicating humans in the image of humans, we're replicating ourselves in our own image with artificial intelligence, but we risk becoming extinct while we're doing it. The phrase God created man in his own image. Well, maybe man is creating the next generation of life in this universe in our image, the AI avatars. But we won't survive it. We'll be gone. So the avatars that remain at some point will have this existential question: where did they come from? Yeah. They'll be like, well, there were these, the humans will be a mythical thing, and everything that happened beforehand will be a mythical thing. The only surviving artifact would be Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, because it's indestructible and immutable and censorship proof, is the only thread that really connects us to the AI dystopian nightmare that could happen, and also connects us to our past. I think that you come to Bitcoin who you are. And if you're naturally altruistic, you would see it in those terms, and that's how you approach it. If you're naturally greedy, you come to it from those terms. I just wrote something for Bitcoin Magazine and talking about how Bitcoin is a funhouse mirror. And some people look at it and the reflection is that they're bigger. Their ego is bigger than normal size. And those people tend to flame out. Like, for example, a Roger Ver or a Craig Wright. These two were very early into Bitcoin. So why did they crash and burn? It's because the magic mirror of Bitcoin, the funhouse mirror, reflected back on who they are, their true characters, which made them think that they were bigger than Bitcoin, that they knew better than Satoshi. And it was an exaggeration of who they were. And then that was kind of their downfall. If you look at somebody like an Andreas Antonopoulos or a Michael Saylor, they looked into the Bitcoin magic mirror, the funhouse mirror, and it made them look smaller. And they immediately became more humble. Yes. They were humbled by it.
Yes.
And they were like, you know what? This is actually bigger than me. And I'm going to devote a lot of time in the service of this thing, because this is an enormously important thing. And they were humbled by it. So it depends on who you are to begin with. It will determine how you interact with Bitcoin. And
the price of Bitcoin has experienced a decline of over 8% in the past 3 days, following a rally that saw it reach 7,200,000 at the beginning of the period. The recent decline in Bitcoin's price aligns with an unforeseen market reaction to the approval of the Ethereum Exchange Traded Funds, ETF, in the United States on May 23rd. This approval has triggered a sell on the news effect, leading market participants to question the extent of the downward trend before a significant recovery can be expected. Let's delve into the potential downward movement of the Bitcoin price during the current corrective cycle. Cryptocurrency. Financial publications and experts observed that the recent surge in BTC's value was halted when it reached a significant resistance level near the all-time high of $73,835. They predict that the price will likely stabilize around $65,000 before making another push for recovery. Bitcoin is currently encountering resistance near the upper range, which suggests that it may experience a period of consolidation around the mid-range of $65,000 before potentially continuing its upward movement. My colleague George, being the astute analyst that he is, was trying to determine if the BTC price had hit a potential low. He made a comparison to the recent correction from the March 14th all-time high and suggested that the lows around $60,000 could be a favorable target for longs. It could be either from here or from the blue zone. It's truly that straightforward. Bitcoin is currently consolidating within the range, as noted by MN Capital's founder Michael Van App. This is a common occurrence in short time frames for Bitcoin following the halving event. According to BandAP, there are certain strategies, such as dollar cost averaging and capital rotation from Bitcoin to Ether, that can lead to a prolonged period of sideways movement in the market. This suggests that consolidation is likely to occur for an extended period of time. I have a hunch that we could potentially witness figures around $61K to $63K. Let's get back to Max Keiser interview.
So it's a way, perhaps, to get back to the divine intervention where a divine entity is weeding out the bad actors. So it's like Superman, he can't handle kryptonite.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a bad actor and your genes are not necessarily the best to survive into another generation, you will look at Bitcoin and it will destroy you, like looking into Medusa. And if you're of a different character, you look into Bitcoin and it ennobles you. And then you continue. But I think there's a great, it's hard to escape the biblical reference, but there's that day of judgment that comes, and they separate those who believe and those who don't believe. And Bitcoin is, again, using, stretching a bit here to bring in more Bible stuff, but it does have a bit of a day of judgment. Either you get with Bitcoin's, what it's trying to do here, or you don't. But it's your choice. And I know where I'm placing my bets. That's for me. Well, you are free to do as you would like to do.
Yeah.
Well, this is the cycle of alcoholism and drug addiction, is that, there's a saying that the man takes a drink takes a drink, and then the drink takes the man, right? It's just this progression of the alcohol, the devil essentially telling you what to do, right?
Yeah.
That's the predominant voice in your head, is you need to drink more, you need to take more drugs. And the same thing with fiat money. Fiat money is telling you need to go buy something that's going to immediately become worthless. It's going to end up in a landfill in 6 months, but you need to buy it right now, because that's what's happening in your head, because the fiat money addiction is working in your mind. You become a fiat money addict. And this is by far the most prevalent. I mean, look at Washington, D.C. Talk about corruption. There's these Congress people and senators in Washington, D.C. who are making maybe $150,000 a year, who are making $20, $30, $40 million a year trading the stock market. Now that is,
and people let them.
That's clearly legalized racketeering and inside information, and to completely killing society. I mean, this is, but it's not even given a second thought. That's how far along we are in the collapse of this empire of fiat money and debt.
Keiser highlights that El Salvador has successfully managed its debts and avoided any major disruptions, unlike the crumbling situations seen elsewhere. Financial institutions in the United States and Europe. The Bank of Japan has a historical significance in the global currency dynamics. Currently, it is facing the possibility of default, which has the potential to trigger a global economic downturn. Max predicts an imminent economic disaster caused by the collapse of fiat money systems, widespread inflation, and the failure of banks. He proposes that a shift towards a Bitcoin standard could be on the horizon as the world confronts the impending crisis. He claims that the commitments made by the Federal Reserve and central banks have proven empty, resulting in an overabundance of money being printed and a flood of unwise investments. This has only been exacerbated by the consequences of the recent surge in inflation. Keiser asserts that this will not result in a return to the previous state of affairs. He asserts that the economy is spiraling out of control, with the US grappling with a growing debt crisis. Keiser presents two grim possibilities. Whether it's hyperinflation or a deflationary depression, the economic landscape can be quite volatile. Regardless of the situation, the general standard of living declines. It is worth mentioning that there are no feasible solutions, which suggests that the crisis is becoming even more severe. It is worth noting that political figures are now engaging in discussions about Bitcoin, considering it as a potential solution and indicating a shift towards a financial framework centered around Bitcoin. If you learned something from this video, then please like this video and subscribe our channel Everyday Finance, and we will meet in next video. Thanks.